Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Field of 68's last call.
What's your go-to Applebee's order?
I don't go to Applebee's. We actually call it Crapplebee's, to be honest.
Who's the better team right now, Creighton, Marquette, or UConn?
What are you doing? What is that? Pray for fans. Oh, come on, Zach. Here we go. It's last call.
All right, I'm Jeff Goodman here with Tyler Hansbrough, Terrence Oglesby. Welcome to Last Call on Stadium, where you get to ask us absolutely anything you want. There's no doubt Tyler will get some entertaining questions tonight, so make sure you stick around because his answers are priceless. All right, let's start out, boys, and I will start with a normal one, and I'll hit Tyler with this one because, well, I don't know how objective he's going to be, but did we learn more about Kansas or Cincinnati tonight? That comes from Jacob, Tyler.
I really can't figure Kansas out. I really want to buy in and say they're a contender, but all of a sudden they play well and then they let one slip. I can't really make sense of the West Virginia loss. They've had a few other losses that have really made me scratch their head because they are an older team and they have, their top four players are, they're very good pieces. I've known Cincinnati, and I know how hard they can battle. How hard they play is going to keep them in the game. And also, I do believe in Victor Locken. I think he's an underrated big, and they have talent. Cincinnati has a versatile roster, and I think West does a great job. So I knew who Cincinnati was. I just can't figure out Kansas.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You know what the thing is about Cincinnati, Jeff, is like I'm looking. They've lost 4 out of 5. In the 4 games they've lost, Texas, Baylor, Oklahoma, Kansas. To Texas by 1, Baylor by 3, Oklahoma by 4, and Kansas by 5? Like, this is going to sound worse than what I'm meaning it to be, but you have to learn how to take that next step and actually win those close games. And without a go-to scorer, and Dan Skillings, I feel like Dan Skillings can get there. I think we know one thing we learned. We know what Kansas is. They don't have any depth. They've got Hunter Dickinson. They're going to be able to beat a lot of teams. We know what they are. What we kind of found out today about Cincinnati, I would say we learned more about Cincinnati in the fact that how close the Bearcats really are. And they are very close. And what are they, 14-5, something like that? Like this team, or 14-6. This team is really, really close. And Wes is on the verge. He might be a player away from Cincinnati really competing at the top of the Big 12, and that's saying a ton, considering where it came from.
Yep, agreed, especially going into that league, which is a buzzsaw.
Yes.
All right, next question comes from Brady. To me, on what I make of the DePaul job. DePaul fired today Tony Stubblefield, Dwayne Peavy, the AD, making the move after a couple years and more misery by DePaul because they've been awful for a while, but not this level awful. I mean, this hire was baffling, to be honest, when they hired Tony Stubblefield. He'd been assistant at Oregon. Didn't make a lot of sense. All right, so, first things first, they're going to swing for the fences. They're going to try to get a big boy. They think they've got some money. They're going to try to get some more NIL. That's why they did it today. Part of the reason was because they just couldn't raise any more NIL. Nobody was going to give money to Tony Stubblefield. So now it's, okay, we got a new coach. Let's try to raise some money for this new coach, whoever it's going to be, and show them that we got some NIL. To me, you're not getting Dusty May, but you got to take a shot. You're probably not getting Porter Moser, who's a Chicago guy, was great at Loyola Chicago. Got to take a shot. You're not going to get the 2 guys in Mississippi probably, but take a shot at Chris Beard and Chris Jans at Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Richard Pitino is not going to DePaul. But again, make all these phone calls. Buzz Williams is an intriguing one because there's kind of a shelf life on Buzz. 5-6 years. He's in year 6 at A&M. And if they don't go to the
he
tournament,
usually takes off.
Yes. Yeah. So take a shot. I don't think any of those take it, but why not? If you've got enough money and you got to probably get to the 3s, you probably got to get to where the number starts with a 3 million. And I'm not sure DePaul can quite get there, but if they can, maybe. The one that I think makes some sense, although I'm going to tell you why I don't think he'd take it, is Bobby Hurley.
Oh.
No? Where were you thinking? Who are you thinking?
You know where I'm thinking. The only guy. He's gonna swoop in like Superman into Chicago. The American gangster that is Will Wade. That is who
I don't think they
needs
can
to
hire him.
get that job.
Yeah, I was told I don't think they can hire Will Wade. I don't think they can roll the dice on Will Wade. So I'd be very surprised unless something crazy happens.
Get it done.
Agreed. Listen, you're arguing with the wrong guy here because I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I was told, that I don't think they're going to go that route. Bobby Hurley is an interesting one. He probably needs to get out of Arizona State, right? He can get a new 5-6 year deal at DePaul, be in Chicago. It all sounds pretty good, right? Until I tell you that he's in the same league as his brother, who's got the best job in the league, and he's got the worst job in the league. Right?
Yeah.
Can he really take that?
Yeah.
I put a tweet out today.
Yeah, think about it. Think about Bobby Hurley and then all the coaches in the Big East. You want to talk about storylines for days. I mean, like that league is so good. If there were a few more teams, and quite frankly, if DePaul wasn't in that league, I mean, Big East is best league in college basketball because they have a default.
Yeah, it's going to get. They there. Georgetown's going to get better. You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, well, I'm including Georgetown's upward trajectory in that. If DePaul wasn't in there and Dayton was, best league in college basketball. Gottlieb had a great tweet today.
Go ahead about that.
About that. It was like, if you remove DePaul and insert Dayton, like that is a different level of league. There's not that many teams. That league is a buzzsaw every night then.
I'll give you a couple more names before Tyler, you jump in here. Outside the box name, Tony Skinn, first year George Mason, who's done a great job. I think he could. You got to find somebody that can navigate Chicago. I'm not saying you got to get players like over and over out of Chicago because you're going to go to the portal, but you got to be able to get some players to stay in Chicago or bounce back to Chicago. Some mid-major names: Josh Schertz from Indiana State, Brian Wardle from Bradley, maybe Bryce Drew, Grand Canyon, Darian DeVries at Drake. These are all some mid-major names. Rashawn Burner went there, but he isn't winning enough at Northern Illinois. You got anything, Tyler?
No, I don't. The only point I will make is it's going to take a lot of money for somebody to take the head coaching job if they want to get a team because the work it requires to turn a program around, especially that's in a DePaul state, requires a lot of work, and a big name is not going to take that unless there's a big paycheck behind it.
Yeah, no,
I would agree. How's the assistant coach's pool?
They're hoping it will be in the range of $2 million. $2 million. If they get it there, then that's really good. A lot of people feel like it's going to be closer to like $1 million. So those are key factors. They're breaking ground, hopefully, on a $60 million practice facility. The actual arena is nice, but it's not right on campus. It's obviously a pro sports town. You know, again, listen, you're taking over, and you can only go up. That's the beauty of DePaul. But I don't know if they're going to attract a big name. All right, T.O., Andrew asks, will Syracuse make the NCAA tournament?
Oh, it got intriguing, didn't it? It got intriguing. Syracuse is pretty good. They're about as talented as they've been over the last X amount of years. I'm not even going to try to – almost since their Big East years. I mean, Judah Mintz is as good as advertised. J.J. Starling's a McDonald's All-American, and they've got guys in the front court. They're close right now. I mean, they're going to have to start rattling off some more wins. No bad losses. Their losses are Tennessee, Gonzaga, kind of a bad loss. Virginia, Duke, and North Carolina. Virginia is the one that'll trip you up, and quite frankly, Gonzaga might trip you up. But they have enough talent to win. Their offense is sporadic, but their defense has actually been there. There's length there, and they have scoring. So they're close. I think they're NIT this year, and I think to be honest with you, Cuse fans should be happy with the progress that has been made this season in such a quick turnaround. 13-5, 4-3 in league. They should be happy with that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Red Autry's done a nice job, and they needed stability. They needed to be able to sell recruits on the fact that they had a young dude, who was going to be there for 3, 4, 5 years, even in the transfer era when a lot of these kids aren't going to be there 4 years. You still – the negative recruiting on Jim Boeheim made it difficult for them. All right, next, Tyler's going to tell you why the Cameron Crazies are the best student section in America. All right, welcome back. Last call. I'm Jeff Goodman here on Stadium. I'm here with Tyler Hansbrough, Terrence Oglesby. We're answering all of your questions, so make sure you throw them at us. All right. Is that Tyler Clint asked the question, your thoughts on Blake Hinson versus the Cameron Crazies and court storms in general? I also want to add in, after you talk about that situation and what you thought of Blake Hinson after Pitt beat Duke at Cameron, jumping on the table, all the Duke Cameron Crazies giving him the finger. It's a great picture. It's a great picture. Give me your take on all that and the Crazies.
First of all, I absolutely loved it. Yeah, I mean, that was a great performance. Also, Pitt hasn't won there in forever. But to hand it to Duke in Cameron and then just jump on the scores table, I just absolutely love it. And also, I will say that the Cameron Crazies, they keep it pretty PG usually, and that's uncharacteristic for them. And they're not the toughest student section in college basketball, but they're entertaining.
If you had to take on how many Cameron Crazies could you take on by yourself, Tyler? Do you think?
Bring section. I'm not sure the Cameron Crazies ever been in a brawl. They don't. They're coming from my background and my upbringing. I don't think they've spent much time in the country.
So are you saying you could take on the entire Cameron Crazies section by yourself? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
I've never seen a Cameron Crazy get into a fight. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't strike me. I don't know if it's the whole section.
I'm going to flip it on you then. How many Cameron Crazies would it take to take T.O. down?
Taking T.O. versus the whole Cameron Crazies. Like I said, T.O. doesn't strike me as he's a country guy too. He's comes from a little bit of the same. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's not as domesticated. Yeah.
Hey, look, it's not as domesticated. That's a good way to put it. Hey, man, there's a bunch of nerds that are going to games in between econ classes. A bunch of wimps. That's all they are. And here's the thing. Hey, so I will give them credit though. They are creative. So going into my freshman year is the only time I played. I only played there one time. Had a winning record. I think we were like 4-1 against Duke, but that doesn't matter. One time that we did lose, it was at Cameron Indoor. And a person that I went to school with, she was like the smartest person in the grade. She ends up on the front row, face painted. She tells them they knew where I went to high school, my high school girlfriend, my current girlfriend, both parents' names, who we lost to in the state tournament, everything. Like they had it all on that little dirt sheet because I was stupid. I was like, it's just noise. It doesn't matter. And that's true to me. But the fact that they knew that much and I ended up with the dirt sheet after the game was over was pretty unique. Now, they are a bunch of nerds. There's some tougher student sections. I will say Tennessee's got a tough student section because, there's some country people out there with overalls on with no shirt. Like that's when if you see a couple guys with overalls and no shirt, you better not jump in that student section because they're carrying something.
Texas
so
Tech.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Texas Tech down in Lubbock. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're a little rough too. I don't want to mess with
Arkansas.
Trust. I'm going to see one. Listen. Should I be scared going into Providence this weekend? I'm going Georgetown, Providence. Ed Cooley returns to Providence. Public enemy number one. They're going to vilify. I mean, they're going to crucify him. They don't like me either, Tyler. And I'm afraid I'm going with Doster. I'm afraid Doster's going to rile them up and have them throwing stuff at me. I am. Like tall boys. Like I'm afraid they're going to be throwing beers.
Yeah, they got tall boys.
I mean, yeah, it gets ugly there. You've never been there, I don't think, Tyler. It's a top.
I've heard
you need to go there.
Yeah.
It's really
I've heard
good.
it's a great atmosphere. It's going to be a great game. Yeah,
I hope they
keep it safe. I hope they keep it safe.
No, he doesn't have my back. Doster will not have my back. There's no way in hell he'll have my back. But what I did do a couple years ago, they haven't liked me for a couple years. I called them the luckiest team in America. T.O. remembers this from a couple years ago. They were winning close games. So I went to a game, and you're tucked right in front of all the fans, like really tight there. So what I did, I turned around. There were about, I don't know, 10, 12 guys behind me. I said, hey, boys, let's go. We went upstairs. I bought them each 2 beers. Each one of them, double fisted, coming back down. And you know what? I was completely protected the rest of the game. I was good. Nobody messed with me. So it was. I might have to do that again. We'll see.
All their beer fell out of their tall boys and ended up on the back of my neck. That's how tight you are in that thing, because they're going crazy.
Yeah.
It just
it
like,
is
right.
It's like
it's insane. That place is nuts. I am nervous that it'll get a little too crazy. Yes. Because that is that's a tough fan base too. And I am nervous that like it could get out of hand. I hope that Providence fans like keep it all in perspective. Like I understand the hate, I understand the vitriol, but like let's keep it to the voices, because I could see like a couple of tall boys getting thrown. Yeah. And that's happened before at Providence. I hope that doesn't happen.
Hey, Tyler, what did you think the court storming, and it's back in the news a little bit because of Caitlin Clark, the Iowa women's star, they lost at Ohio State. She's trying to get off the court, and somebody's running with their phone up. They're not looking, and they collide with Caitlin Clark, and she goes down. Not for the count, but she went down, and she's okay, thankfully. What's your take on court storming?
I'm for court storming, and I think it's a big part of college basketball history. It's unfortunate. I don't think they should stop it. I do think it's an unfortunate incident. This is, in the history of court storming, there's been a lot of court storming. This is the first time I've ever heard of somebody actually getting hurt court storming. And so, I hate it for Caitlin Clark. Hopefully she's okay. She makes it through this difficult time. But I am not against court storming. I love it. And I think it's great for the atmosphere and the students, because that's what makes college basketball so great.
Tio?
Yeah. You can't have half the fame. Like if you're going to be this big a deal, like, and you get your tail beat, like and you're the face of I don't even think that she's just the face of women's college basketball. She's the face of university level collegiate sports right now. You have to look at where you're going. Like you can't just put your head down when people are coming. Like you have to look at where you're going. Neither person was looking at where they were going. That's what happened. She had her head down. She's looking at her shoes, trying to get out of the way. The other girl's taking a selfie, and they just collide. Like this was not a malicious attack on her. Like you can't have half the fame. You need to have people around you. Yeah.
Well, or what you do is what Duke does, right? They got those ropes up pretty quick, so nobody's going to be able to get onto the, either onto the court, or you can get the players off. You can get the player. You've got an easy aisle to be able to get off the court quickly without most fans being able to get near you. That to me, I agree. I like court storming. I just think there's got to be some level of protection for the players to be able to get them off the court in an easier fashion that they're going to get hit. All right, when we come back, Tyler's going to tell you who is the real Z in college hoops. Last call on Stadium. All right, welcome back. Last call here on Stadium. I'm Jeff Goodman here with Tyler Hansbrough and Terrence Oglesby, and this is the best part of the show, the last segment, when Tyler gets asked all sorts of crazy questions that he has no idea how to answer, and the looks on his face are priceless. So stick with us the next probably 7 minutes. We're going to go quickly here. All right, Tyler, who is the real Big Z, Zach Edey or Kentucky's Big Z, Ivisic?
Is this Big Blue Nation sending this question in? This is just one of the easiest layups I've had in the history of doing the show. Zach Edey, he's the most proven player in college basketball. He has nothing to prove. I mean, he's going to be.
But has he ever had 5 minutes?
Player of the year. Yeah.
Has he ever had 5 minutes like Big Z had?
Hey, Edey. I'm going Zach Edey. There is no, I don't care what he did in 5 minutes. Zach Edey.
All right. T.O., I'm going to give you a different one.
Okay.
Which Field of 68 member would look best in rec specs? This comes from Andrew.
I think that's more of a mentality situation. That's more of a mentality. Like, if you're wearing rec specs, you're here for business. Like, Psycho T's wearing the rec specs, and I wouldn't blink. Like, I wouldn't blink. And he would score freaking 3,000 points. If he would have had rec specs, he'd have made more free throws. That's your problem, T. We didn't know any better. On your 40-point game, you could have had 50. You're missing free throws because you didn't know you needed rec specs. Problem solved,
I've
Roy.
tried them.
Problem solved.
I've tried them. I hated them. Yeah, my contacts kept falling out. I tried the goggles just to practice. Absolutely hated them. Yeah, couldn't do it.
Did you ever wear them in a game?
Never.
No, just practice. I couldn't do it. And I respect Robbie for doing that. He needs to get an NIL deal. I'm serious.
How does that not work?
No, we got to work on that for him. We got to work on that. Try to get something. All right, we're gonna keep going. We got a couple more here. They're funny here. All right, Tyler. This comes from Jacob. Would you rather live with me, Goodman, or a bull for a week? So, would you rather live with me or a bull for a week?
I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm going the bull just for the story and the reaction. I mean, the bull would just be you never know what you're going to get, and I think that would be a little more interesting. I mean, yeah, I can't imagine. I'm going bull. You're
not surviving.
You never.
Yeah, right, dude. There's an.
You never know how the animal's going to react.
No, you don't. You don't. You don't actually. You don't know how I'm going to react either when you try to take my banana pudding out of the refrigerator. Trust me, I'll be scarier than any bull.
Hey, there's an alpha in that pen, and it ain't the bull, right, T?
Hey. Yeah, I mean, it is amazing that all these rodeo people that ride these bulls. I think it's one of the dumbest things you can do as a professional bull rider. And I'm just like, whoever would think of just, hey, I'm going to go ride a bull for a living. It's just amazing.
All right, we got another one from Bobby D. Would you rather fight a chicken every time you get in a car, Tyler, or fight a bear once a year?
Oh, probably a chicken. And the reason I say that is I like my odds versus a chicken. And chickens, if anybody knows anybody that has chickens, they're actually kind of fierce animals. They are low-key. You don't really mess with a chicken, but I think just my size puts me at an advantage.
I had a group of buddies one time, and we went to go eat at Sonic. You remember Sonic, the drive-thru? There's not many of them left. There's a cook. She was kind of cute. She was in the back. And we were like, hey, what are we doing later? And we were kind of joking around. She's like, well, I got to go feed the chickens and everything. She had fighting chickens. Those things are 3 feet tall. So it depends on what kind of chickens. And she went back there and picked him up by its neck. It started clawing her. She started bleeding down her arm. I'm like, boys, it's time to go. I don't know what this woman's capable of. It's not good. But if it's a regular docile chicken, those are easy. You just grab those. You can just pop the head off of them. That's not a big deal. My grandma used to do that. You just grab the chickens. You just pop the head off. They pop right off. Did your grandma do that,
Another
Jeff?
question for you, Tyler. Here's another quick question for you, and then we're going to do toast of the night. Who wins a race? You going backward or John Fanta going
Ah, man. I'm going to have to roll Fanta. And the reason I do that, I don't think he's out there running marathons either. But my knees are so banged up right now that, running backwards or forwards right now is a difficult task for me.
All right, toast of the night. I'm going quick. Johnny Furphy is my toast of the night from Kansas. 23-11 in the win. T.O., who do you got?
Dwayne Peavy, he's done what the Louisville AD won't do, and that's get rid of a coach that it's going nowhere. Dwayne Peavy, cheers to you. Get DePaul going.
Good call.
I'm going
Tyler?
R.J. Davis, dropping 36 in the Smith Center tonight. A big win. That's my toast.
All right, well, listen, this is a sad, sad night for me. This is the last show that I'm doing from our city. I leave Friday to go back to the cold weather, back to the frigid temperatures of Boston, Massachusetts. I might tear up right now in these last few seconds. It's been a great ride. It's going to be 65, 70 degrees the rest of the way. So thanks for joining us. Last call on Stadium for Tyler Hansbrough, for T.O. I'm Jeff Goodman.